Have you ever wondered what would happen if only the pencil woman existed in the Skibidi Multiverse? How would she be able to fare against most horrendous threats in the series? And in general, how would this change affect the entire story? So, without any further ado, let's get to it. Basically, the pencil race came a little bit later in the series, in almost a critical time when the Alliance needed help. But no one could really understand the real reason they stayed hidden and kept their technology to themselves. Well, this is a fact still troubling the drill chief and other chiefs, but they have greater things to worry about, right? With the Sinister and all that. But in this case, the pencil race would have to come in earlier, as they are the only race that has a Titan. So we would get introduced to the pencil race even earlier, and with their Titan, I guess the Skibidis would have to re-strategize their fighting, as clearly this Titan can't be infected. Although they would have made some attempts to see if it would work, all would have been futile. However, with the pencil race coming in earlier, it would mean that the Alliance would have access to immense manpower from the pencil agents, reducing the casualty rate. With these pencil soldiers, they'll be able to outnumber the Skibidis in battles, which means earlier battles would be even easier. But we all know the Skibidis. It won't take long until they would have found out that the weakness of this pencil army is flames. So, the scientist would have to improvise. Instead of sending in magnet toilets and mutants, they'll all carry giant flamethrowers. And yeah, this would be a turning point, as the Skibidis would start dominating the Alliance once again. However, for the flamethrower mutant, the pencil woman would have to be careful, using her shield to escape the flames while using her creations of large darts and helicopters to attack from all angles, which I believe is enough to put the mutant down. The scientist, noticing that plan has failed, would have to retreat before he got squashed by a barrage of attacks. With this, the pencil woman would have used a considerable amount of energy, coupled with the heat, and would have to retreat back to base for repairs. Meanwhile, the scientist would have gone back to the drawing table to plot another ambush. And since, in this scenario, they were not able to successfully infect the pencil woman, it means there'll be no need for any rescue mission, which means they'll go on the full attack on Skibidi bases. And when they get to the base where the drill titan self-destructed, things would go even differently. Based on the fact they have the pencil woman alongside the pencil soldiers, in no time they'll be able to demolish this base, burning it to the ground. But the scientist would not come out in this case because he knows that he'll be defeated instantly, as he just narrowly escaped, so he'll be plotting instead. Meanwhile, after the battle, the Alliance would start planning on ways to make her even stronger. The scientists would get to work while she moves out onto more bases, demolishing and destroying. But the scientist would have perfected his plan. Yeah, he would have gotten enough time to prep. So, while they attack a certain base, the base where we saw the clown toilet, while the pencil soldiers are busy clearing toilets and mutants at this base, the pencil woman would be ambushed by the scientist and the Pennywise toilet. Damn, this wouldn't be too easy for her, based on the fact that they know that her blind spot is fire. They'll only use fire-based attacks, which would make fighting against them even harder. So, the pencil woman creates large darts and shoots them at high speeds, making it almost impossible to evade. The scientist and Pennywise get hit, but it's not enough to put them down. But at this moment, she'll try to maintain the distance between them, as taking more fire attacks would be dangerous for her. So, she keeps on using her shield to block their flames. Then, she finally gets an idea. She creates two large agents to fight against the scientist, but this would use a significant amount of energy, but she has to risk it as she's getting outnumbered. So, focusing on the Pennywise, she's able to use her core blast to roast this mutant, pinning it down with multiple darts. The scientist, still in battle with the agents, would realize it's not fair and would go on to retreat out of the battlefield. The pencil woman gets very weak quickly due to exhaustion from the battles, so she'll have to go back to base. But the scientist was not done yet. The kamikaze rain of mutants would come in, and if this becomes successful, it would be the end for the Alliance. She's too weak to perform any high-energy moves, so she's beat, right? Or so we thought. The two large agents realized they had to do something, so they quickly drew a shield with their last energy and used their bodies to protect her vitals from the explosion. As it rocked down, bringing up smoke and debris, the smoke clears. The pencil woman is seen quite injured and battered up. She can't move, but manages to make a call to base, calling for help. Just as the Skibidis are getting to the site, they'll meet an excavation site, and the pencil woman has already been strapped onto a pencil helicopter and is being hauled back to the base. This pisses off the scientist, so the Skibidis would have to retreat. Meanwhile, at the pencil base, they'll be able to help her with the regeneration process, making it even faster. While it's going on, they'll get a message that the clock base has been taken over by the SCP toilets and the agents might need a helping hand. So she offers to go back into the battle, but is denied access. The pencil boss doesn't want to lose her, so he tries to stop her from going, but she sneaks off the base. Meanwhile, at the clock base, while the SCP toilets think they have the edge, as the Alliance doesn't have a Titan anymore, and the agents are trying their best to disable the bombs on the base, they'll see multiple helicopters coming in their way. They'll know it's about to go down, but the helicopters are under heavy fire from the shells of the SCP toilets, which we saw are no joke with high firepower. But then the pencil woman comes in, and they are shocked to see her, like they got wrong intel or something. So she's able to evade their shells, and basically they are torn down to shreds, as she remembers what the Skibidis had done to her previously. With this, the clock base gets reclaimed, and she's ordered back to base. So she moves out, but the agents have another mission: stop the nukes from detonating, which I guess would be light work based on their sheer numbers. Only with the pencil soldiers, yeah, it would be a lot easier, but not everything comes easy, I guess. Alpha would have formed a temp alliance with the Skibidis, and since they don't know the location of the pencil base, they'll have to lure them out to get to them. So they'll attack the clock base with the scientist alongside mutants. Since they don't have a Titan to protect them against the threats, they'll have to retreat out of the base. But there's a plan to take them out and recover the clock base. As the pencil woman would have been receiving upgrades from the other races, they'll find out a way to give her the upgrades from all the races, like sound waves and TV rays for hypnosis. Yeah, imagine how really strong this Titan would be. Crazy, right? So they all move on back to the base. This time, the mission is to do everything possible to reclaim the base. So she first encounters the scientist, and when he uses his flamethrowers at her, she'll be able to evade it easily with her reinforced shield. This time is different. So the scientist would get bullied. Alpha, seeing that things are not going well with her pawn pieces, she'll have to improvise and bring out her king. So she goes on to summon out the counter Titan. And yeah, everyone is kind of spooked at the sight of this monster, but the pencil woman would have to fight against it regardless to save the Alliance and reclaim the base. So this battle would not be easy, as any of the upgrades she got would be instantly replicated and used against her, which is not fair. But that's the reality. So she'll have to move around more to evade his attacks, but it won't be long before she'll take a fatal hit. At this point, seeing that the entire Alliance is counting on her, she'll have to stand back up with the determination and sheer willpower. She'll rage with immense energy gushing out of her. The counter would be pretty much surprised at the sudden buff, but before he could react, a giant hand had caught him. And with her command, he's cut into two and squashed down. And to finish it up, she uses the imitation of the drill's core blast to roast the counter down to dust. I don't hope he'll recover from that, but she's so drained that she passes out. Well, I guess there's no TV Titan to simp, so the pencil woman would hit hard on the ground and would be taken back to base. Like and subscribe if you're a Chad, not a simp like the TV. However, the only downside to her ability is that she's very fragile and would need constant repairs. But by now, the rumors about the G-Man apocalypse would have been confirmed by the special agents sent to investigate the Skibidi base, and the results would come out positive. So they'll know they'll be up for a treat. How are they going to fight against something like that? Well, the pencil boss would have improvised, giving her the device with the ink to create literal titans to help her in the battle. But the Skibidis would have kept in place threats to ensure that they don't get there in time, which I guess they won't. As we saw, how relatively weak the clones are to her, so they won't survive the threats kept in place to stall and protect the Skibidis base. And even if they do manage to defeat the threats, the G-Man apocalypse would still be unleashed, which I guess would be GG, as we saw how just one blast was able to totally obliterate the Titans. So I guess the Skibidis would come out on top here. Yeah, you'll always need teamwork from the others to make real progress against an ever-evolving threat like the Skibidis, and let's not even talk about Sinister. However, check out this video to find out the biggest weakness of each Alliance Titan. Unique Clockman out.